Professional bodybuilding has always disgusted me. It's turned something that should be health focused into one of the unhealthiest things imaginable. From steroid abuse and terrible diets to promoting body dysmorphia and cultural decay, in this video I'm going to talk about all that I think is wrong with professional bodybuilding and why it disgusts me. Before I begin, I just want to clarify that I don't have anything against one specific bodybuilder or anything like that. It's not personal against anybody who's into bodybuilding. It's just the bodybuilding culture and the practice of bodybuilding as a whole that I have something against. I guess it should also be said that I'm talking about professional bodybuilding, where you're up on a stage and people are judging you, not just typical regular people who are trying to work out every day to build a nice physique for themselves. I'm talking about professionally on a stage competing. So the first and most obvious reason that bodybuilding disgusts me is because of the rampant steroid abuse in the industry. It's just unfathomable to me how many bodybuilders die early because of their steroid abuse. And it's not only them. When professional bodybuilding creates a whole culture of people wanting to take steroids, a lot of regular gym goers, guys like me, young 20s or stuff like that, teens, they see these bodybuilders and want to try and emulate them, and then they hop on steroids without knowing the detrimental health effects it is certainly going to have on your body. It's just really crazy to me to think that people would even find building muscle to those levels important enough to really risk their health for. For me, I've personally always been someone who's going to put health as their number one priority. Even if normally a lot of the times building muscle and being healthy coincide, but steroids is one of the rare cases where they don't, and I personally would never ever choose muscle over my health, and it is crazy to me that a lot of people do. A lot of people think that they can do steroids safely, and to an extent that is true. There are ways to minimize risk, but at the end of the day, it is still a risk. You can lower the risk, but it is still a risk at the end of the day, and there are still unavoidable health impacts that happen in your body, and I don't condone it in any stretch of the imagination. It really is sad to me how many people, how many bodybuilders lose their lives because of steroid abuse and stuff like that. Myself also, I used to be a pretty big professional wrestling fan, and steroids were an issue or probably still are to this day, an issue in there as well. And it's not bodybuilding, but it's very similar because they make a lot of money based off the appeal that they have for their body. And it's really sad how many professional bodybuilders, and for me, what I used to watch, how many wrestlers have shortened or basically died because of steroid abuse. And again, it's just I would never do that, and I hope I would implore that you should never do it as well. It's just not worth, the extra muscle is not worth putting your health at risk. A lot of people are unaware when they first hop on of the detrimental health effects it can have. It can, going on steroids and getting unnatural levels of muscle can grow your heart to such an extent and place such a load on your heart that it can't really keep up with it. That's why a lot of bodybuilders die of heart attacks later in life. It's because they're just sustaining muscle levels, and their heart as a muscle literally increases in size so much it's unnatural, and the heart isn't able to I guess you would say, deal with it or maintain that level of performance anymore. And just even if there are a bunch of other health effects that happen, it's a lot of acne, a lot of people, they have to be on TRT for the rest of their lives. It messes up their sexual function, especially for women. Hopping on steroids, it makes you more like a man. You're gonna have a deep voice, you might lose periods, you're gonna have stuff going on down there that's gonna basically mess up your regular biology. And it's just, again, it's something that is just so seemingly far-fetched to me. I just can't fathom that people would do this, but it's rampant in bodybuilding, and that's why the steroid use and abuse disgusts me in bodybuilding, because I am, at the end of the day, focused on health number one primarily, and bodybuilding, because of this steroid abuse and stuff, is not. The health is not one of their priorities, and bodybuilding is not healthy at all. In the same vein, a lot of the practices that bodybuilders do to get on stage are also incredibly unhealthy, and again, I just can't stand behind them. The usage of diuretics and just the insane levels of dehydration they go through to get up on stage is, again, to me, just disgusting. It's so the complete opposite of being health focused that I can't stand behind it in any way, even though I'm a fan of big muscles and going to the gym and stuff. I just can't stand behind that. There are so many bodybuilders who will like faint or pass out, or even like, I don't want to say so many because I'm not gonna act like it happens every day, but it happens enough, right? That there are bodybuilders who die backstage or in the lead up to their shows because they're just so dehydrated that, at the end of the day, we need water, we need hydration. You can't expect to dehydrate yourself and not have any kind of negative health impacts. It's gonna happen. Another thing that comes along with bodybuilding is just their terrible diets. Most bodybuilders are on terrible diets and they eat no better than like most children in a way, in a lot of cases. Like they're this is usually after their shows, right? But like in the preparation for their show, yeah, they're locked in, they're eating, I wouldn't necessarily say good foods, but at least they're, because they eat a lot of carbs and stuff, but at least they're focused on, to some extent, like limiting their food and not eating too bad. But then just the nature of having such restrictive diets beforehand, because they have to get to such extremely low body fat levels right after their shows, they binge like crazy. They're eating all kinds of desserts and pizza and whatever other crap they can think of in insane quantities. Like, again, it's just, this is the exact opposite of health. Firstly, you shouldn't be restricting yourself so crazily to be at such a low body fat level, and then for a show or whatever the case is, and then afterwards you shouldn't be binging on such like unhealthy foods and stuff. It's not good for you. And on the topic of low body fat levels, all of these bodybuilders are at such low body fat levels that it's just not healthy at all. Whether you're male or female, when you're at that low levels of body fat, then your hormone balance and your bodily function is going to be completely like dysregulated. You can't like, just having fat on your body is to some extent essential. You can't go that low and expect to not have health effects. So many bodybuilders, again, whether male or female, they'll be at such low body fat levels that they'll just feel cold because they don't really have like the insulation. They'll feel irritable, they'll have sexual dysfunction, they'll feel hungry all the time. It's not a great place to be. And again, it's like bodybuilding in a way promotes that kind of existence onto other people as well. It doesn't only affect the participants. It affects the participants, obviously, and it's very bad for them, but even just beyond the entire culture, it pushes all these sort of bad habits and bad health practices onto naive young people, young guys a lot of the time, who are watching or aspire to be like these kinds of bodybuilders and don't yet understand the negative health impacts it can have on their body. Now, moving away from like a lot of the like physical health related aspects, I just also cannot find bodybuilding physiques attractive in any kind of way, whether again it's male or female, right? It's really just, it's taken the human body and like just perverted it to something that doesn't even look human at this point anymore. Like any of these like super big bodybuilders these days, I look at them, and yes, while I personally I'm like, yeah, I want to work out, I aspire to like have a good physique, have a nice physique, build big muscles, it's not, when I think of that, I don't think of those bodybuilders. Those bodybuilders are at a level that, again, like I said, frankly, like disgusts me. It's just unnatural. And I mean, a lot of women would say the same for those kinds of bodybuilders, right? They'd be like, yeah, like I like muscles and all, but I like, that is way too much. Like I could never be with that. And again, it makes sense because as humans, we are attracted to something that is natural, like we're not attracted to incredibly abnormal physiques, which bodybuilding promotes. Like even for myself as a straight guy, it's like I can see female bodybuilders who are super jacked, but like, they might be in a bikini or whatever, but it doesn't matter to me because like, to me, they don't even necessarily look like a woman. And like, that's not to say, again, not to have anything against any specific person or female bodybuilder or anything, but I'm just saying, like, as a whole, the bodybuilding really just promotes a unattractive physique. And when you pair the fact that it's unattractive with all the unattractive health issues as well, again, it's just something that completely disgusts me. Lastly, this is somewhat of a health thing, but more of a mental health thing. One thing that really disgusts me about bodybuilding is the promotion of basically body dysmorphia in the industry. Again, for the participants themselves and for the people who watch them. For the participants themselves, it's just every year after year, decade after decade, the demands are just getting higher and higher and higher. You have to somehow keep getting bigger and bigger. You have to somehow keep getting leaner and leaner. And the only way that's going to happen is with steroid use. And sadly, that's why steroid use has probably, at least from what I can tell, just been going up and up and up over time. But again, that's just the participant's point of view, right? But even in casual gym goers and like young guys like me, they'll see a lot of these bodybuilders, and they see that they're so huge and there's so many people on steroids that it creates a level of insecurity in them and body dysmorphia in them that, like, unless I take steroids, I'm not gonna look good. I'm not gonna build my dream physique. A lot of young guys want to build a physique for girls. They think that, oh man, like, unless I hop on the roids, unless I hop on the juice, I'm not gonna be able to attract a girl. Stuff like that. These are serious problems that, I'm not gonna say professional bodybuilding causes necessarily. These things, I'm sure they would find their way and people would take them anyways, but they most certainly make these sort of things and ideas worse, and they really just promote everything, right? Like the steroid abuse, the terrible diets, and the body dysmorphia. It's really, whenever you're watching bodybuilding, it's not possible for those ideas to not somewhat creep into your mind. And ultimately, at the end of the day, whether it's the participants in the bodybuilding show or just, like young guys like me who hop on roids because of their body dysmorphia, it really is that body dysmorphia that causes them to be in this sort of yo-yoing cycle of, needing to do more and more roids. At some point, maybe there are some naive people who, when they start, they don't think it'll be that bad for their health, but eventually every bodybuilder or everybody who's been on roids comes to find out that, like, yeah, I'm probably gambling with my health, or they actually feel the health effects. But again, it's that body dysmorphia that basically makes them an addict to, okay, well, I need to take these steroids, I need to take these drugs because I need to basically get my fix. Getting my fix is getting bigger muscles and getting more adulation from people and whatever. For the bodybuilders, it comes from people on the judges while they're on stage, right? And for regular people who might hop on the roids, it just comes from people in the gym giving them compliments or stuff like that. But really, it is that body dysmorphia that just keeps them in the cycle, right? They know it's bad for them, but they can't stop because they need that fix, they need that attention, and that's a lot of time the steroids is the only sort of method they've known for doing that, and that's what keeps them on them. And again, it's why bodybuilding as a whole, the promotion of this kind of culture, really just disgusts me. I could never stand behind it. I am focused first and foremost on health, and health, in my opinion, should be above anything, even building muscle. And as I said earlier, most of the time there are goals that coincide, but steroids is one of the few scenarios where they don't. And again, which is why I can't condone any kind of steroid use or bodybuilding as a whole, because they're basically synonymous. And that's basically it. I know this video was kind of a rant, and maybe there were some opinions in here that'll offend some people, but at the end of the day, I don't really care. I'm not going after one specific person or any specific even group of people just for the sake of it. I'm going after bodybuilding because I really just think it is one of the movements, I guess, that is most antithetical to health, especially when it should be health focused. In my opinion, going to the gym and working on yourself physically is one of the most beautiful things you can do, because it promotes good health. And bodybuilding kind of has those things where, yeah, you're working on yourself, yeah, you're building muscle, but they've just somehow, like I said in the intro, they've perverted that into one of the most unhealthiest things imaginable, while it should be ideally one of the healthiest things imaginable. The lesson I would give for you to take away from this video is, if you clicked on this video, you probably already think kind of like me. But if you're somewhat on the fence or you're on the other side, I would really, again, just implore to you that, if you've already hopped on the juice in your life, like, come off it. There's still time to sort of like change your ways. I don't want to say that in like a preachy sort of like a religious kind of way, but I genuinely just mean it in the sense where, like, it'll be better for your health. It's better to, sure, you did some things that may have been bad for your health in the past. Well, you can't go and change the past, but the best you can do right now is at least stop doing it in the future. And if you're on the fence and you're open to hopping on roids one day or something like that, I would really just say, don't do it. It's not worth it. You might be in your teens or 20s, and right now, you feel like you're invincible, or whatever. It's just a little bit of it's not going to be that bad. It's still going to have health effects. Or you think, oh, like maybe it'll take like 5 years out of my life, whatever. Those 5 years will be when I'm 80. Like I want to live a good 20s. Well, you might be saying that right now, but maybe when you're 80 years old and you have grandkids and whatever, you might want to stick around longer for them, and that's when you'll regret the taking the steroids, because it's taking your life away. The ultimate lesson, I guess, is to just put your health above everything. If you have your health, you can have everything in life. But if you don't have your health, even if you have everything else in life, it's not worth it. A life without having your health is barely a life worth living. And health is one of our biggest assets. Again, we take it for granted when we're in our teens, when we're in our 20s, even 30s. But if you take care of it right now, it'll be something that you'll be really proud of when you're 60, 70, 80, beyond that, and you're still living a healthy life, and you're living a life free of issues. If you want to take good ownership of your health and build your dream physique in a natural way without sacrificing on your health, I would suggest visiting the link in my description and considering my ebook. It's a 65,000 word guide to help you build your dream physique in a healthy manner. And I know that the value in it is immense. I did a lot of research to write it, and it also includes a lot of my own life experience, right? I've been lifting for 8 years, and that time I've learned a lot of things about what works, what doesn't work, both from a training perspective or a diet perspective or even a recovery perspective. So if you use the coupon code on the screen, first 5, you can get it for just $5. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.